Hi lovelies and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenna and this is Jenna's Book Binge. I am obviously new to BookTube, so I wanted to do the Booktube Newbie challenge so you guys could get to know me and kind of see if you vibe with my style and with what I read and with the kind of videos that I do. The first topic / question for the Booktube Newbie challenge is why I started my channel. The main reason I started this channel is to form a community of people who love reading. I always love getting new recommendations from everyone. I love giving recommendations. So I just wanted to form a really safe, fun place for readers of all kinds to come and interact with me. I also love to talk, and I love talking about books specifically, and there's only about one person in my life that I see kind of every day that reads the same kind of things I do. My husband is a reader, but he doesn't really read romantasy. I also want to make new bookish friends because that's my favorite thing about this community, is making new friends, talking to people about books, all of that good stuff. I do have Bookstagram, and I have made some of my best friends on there, and it's just so much fun to be like, we're reading the same book, oh my god, we read the same book, and then start freaking out about it. That's like an experience like no other. I also know that I am a very expressive person, so I talk with my hands a lot, I kind of show everything on my face, and I am just so much better at speaking than I am at typing. So I think my reviews will be a lot better, because if I'm just typing something out or simply posting a picture of a book or putting something on my story, I feel like you're not really getting the way I'm feeling about it. It's not really hitting the mark. So I feel like through these longer format videos, I can just sit here and scream and cry about the books that I'm reading. I just feel like it's so much more of an in-depth experience, and you can actually see why I am recommending these books to you and why I really like them. So basically, I'm here to make friends, talk about books, give book recommendations, do gigantic book hauls, and ramble on about everything that I'm reading. I'm also really excited to do like reading vlogs and show you guys my reactions to books while I'm reading them. The next topic in the Booktube Newbie challenge is how you got back into reading. I have been a reader since I was really young, but I only read mystery, thriller, stuff like that. I know I read a little bit of fantasy when I was little, but it was mostly Maximum Ride by James Patterson, so it wasn't even really that fantasy. So I didn't really read much. I read like maybe one book a year, but I can remember always going to the bookstore with my mom or my nana, and we would go to this bookstore called Borders. I don't know if anybody knows that anymore, but there aren't any more around. But it was like a Barnes & Noble, but it was just called Borders. And I can always remember getting the Nancy Drew yellow hardback books and having the best time. It just always felt like such an experience. So I've always had like that joy and love for reading and books. But more specifically, when I got into college, I was on Instagram and I found this community that was called Scientists Who Read, and they had a Discord channel, and I joined, and they were talking about Dracula and all these other kinds of books. It felt like such a safe, enjoyable place, so I was like, wow, I love books and I want to get more into books again. And then I found Aquatar, which is just life-changing. I remember seeing it on Instagram somewhere. It wasn't a review, it was just like a picture of it, I think, or someone had said they were reading it. Like there was no context. And I went to the bookstore, I picked it up, and I was like, you know, if I hate it, I hate it. It's a cute cover, it sounds kind of interesting, but if I hate it, then I don't have to read it. So I took it home and I read it in 2 days. And thus began the obsession with Bookstagram, Booktube, books, bookstores, everything bookish. That became my entire personality, and it is still my entire personality over 2 years later, and I am adoring it. After I read the first one in 2 days, I dragged my husband back to the bookstore, and I was like, well, I need all of them right now. So he got me the entire series in hardback, and then I was like, well, I can't read these hardbacks, they're too beautiful to touch. So I made him get me each book in paperback, and I read them that way, and I think I read the entire series in like 2 weeks. except for Court of Silver Flames, which I'm reading right now, because I have attachment issues and I don't like when series end. So this will be my main character flaw that you will see throughout this entire channel, all my videos, everything. I am a serial non-series finisher, and I consider that my biggest character flaw in life. But it's fine. I'm working on it. I did finish one series, so it's fine. I'm working on it. After I read ACOTAR, I started my Bookstagram, which it's coming up on its 2-year anniversary in February, and I'm so excited. I've had the best time on there. I have made some of my best friends through that platform. I love that platform. It's so much fun, and it's so supportive. I love the stories, the unhinged, everything on Instagram. And if you want to give my Bookstagram a follow, I can put the username right here. It's Jenna's Book Binge. It's the same here. On that page, I post reviews and I post my current reads, so you see a lot more of my stories. I post a lot of fan art, just anything that I find that's book related or coffee related or book boyfriend related. Yeah, you'll see my current reads and kind of more in real life updates on that platform. So if you want to check that out, that would be great. The next topic I'm going to go into is favorite genres. So I read anything from fantasy to dark romance to thriller to romance to romantasy. The only thing I don't really read is nonfiction unless it's a memoir or a biography or an autobiography of someone I really enjoy. I don't read a lot of historical romance, and I don't read a lot of just general fiction, but I'm open to anything, honestly. My top 3 favorite general genres are fantasy, romantasy, and romance. That's what I read the most of. That's what you'll see a lot of on my shelves. That's what I'm drawn to. But again, I'm always willing to try a new book or try a new genre, especially if it sounds intriguing to me. So I'm kind of just like an open reader. Now we're getting to the good part. I'm going to show you some books, and I'm going to show you my favorites from each of the genres that I kind of talked about, the ones that I read more often than not. So let's get into that. So we're going to start with Under the Whispering Door. This book. Oh, this book. It is just, first of all, it's gorgeous. Second of all, my husband read it and recommended it to me. And I was like, no, I don't know. I don't really read like light fantasy, you know, kind of more speculative fiction, I guess. Like something that could kind of happen in real life, but not really. And then I listened to this on audiobook and I was hooked. I was writing down quotes when I was listening to it. I'm actually planning on doing a physical reread of this at some point. I am just obsessed. And if you don't know what this book is about, it's basically about this tea shop that when somebody dies, they end up there, and Hugo helps them pass through to whatever's coming next for them. And it is just amazing. There is romance, slight romance in it, and it is an MM romance, which, oh, it's just so sweet. I really recommend this to anybody, no matter what you read. This is kind of my book where I'm like, this is where I'm an open reader, because if you will recommend something to me and I pick it up and it is this good, I will read it. And then I'm going to talk about, this is kind of a horror thriller kind of book, but anything by Grady Hendrix I will love. So this is My Best Friend's Exorcism. And it was just like an 80s, like you can see on the back, it's just like an 80s horror movie. It just gives like exorcism vibes, The Exorcist, but it's like that 80s kind of vibe. It's like kind of like Stranger Things. It's horror, it's suspense, it's thrilling, it's wild. It's a little gross too, but it's really good. And then another one by Grady Hendrix that I really loved was The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I can put the picture of it right here. I audiobooked that one, and that one was really good. It was really weird again. Like, Grady Hendrix just has like a really weird twist to his horror / thrillers, but it was really good. That one gave more 90s suburban mom fights Dracula, it was just hysterical. I don't own that one, so that's why I don't have it, but I did audiobook it, and it was really, really, really good. Now we're going to go into some of my favorite romances. They're probably going to be a little typical and a little more on the regular romance side, not the dark romance side. But if you want me to give you dark romance arcs, I totally can. I've been reading them for a little while now and I just eat those up. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is Love Theoretically. Anything by Ali Hazelwood, honestly, just gets me. I have read almost her entire backlog right now. I have not read Check and Mate. That's the only one I haven't read. She was actually my first romance author that I ever read. I read The Love Hypothesis with my husband. We were literally sitting there, like one book, sitting there next to each other, reading it, not flipping the page till the other one was done. It was hysterical. That book was cringy, but it was her first book. And her books have only gotten better since then. This one is probably my favorite. I love the main character's obsession with cheese. Like Elsie, like her obsession with cheese, it just makes sense. And Jack is just, oh, I love him. And I am a woman in STEM, I'm a scientist, so I really relate to all of her books because I'm like, yeah, that's how we're really treated in life. So this one's really good, plus the covers are always so cute. Moving on, the next one is Love on the Brain. This is probably my second favorite one. I loved Bee in this one, and I love that she was obsessed with Marie Curie. Levi was just a big hunk, and he was so broody, and the dark hair, tall, male, broody MMC will always be my kryptonite. I just love it so much. And again, look at how cute this cover is. Like the little people on it. I hate books with real people on it. I only do romances that are like cute little cartoony covers, or something like if it's a dark romance where it has like a skull on the front, but I will not do shirtless men. So I only do these. So Ali Hazelwood is one of my favorite romance authors ever, and I'm excited to read Check and Mate soon. Then we're gonna go into somebody that everybody probably loves, and that's Emily Henry. Book lovers. I know some people don't like this book, but I mean, I get why someone wouldn't like it. Like if you don't relate to the female main character, if you don't relate to the story, I get it. Nora is like your typical workaholic, which like I feel. I'm type A, so I'm definitely just like her. I do love Charlie, but he's not my favorite. I feel like that's the thing with Emily Henry books. I feel like I am less simping over the main male character, and I'm more relating to and obsessing over the female main character. So this one's good. It's set in a small town. Well, they're from the city, but the whole book takes place in a small town, and it's giving restoring the local bookshop, and they talk about Bigfoot erotica. So I mean, what can you not love? The next one is Happy Place. I love this cover so much. It is just gorgeous. I actually got a signed copy because I went to my Barnes & Noble by work. I was like, do you have it yet? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. And then the girl was like, do you want to reserve a copy? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, do you want the signed copy? And I was like, yes. Oh, you can't see it. I was like, yes, I do. So I have that. That's really exciting. This book takes you on a roller coaster of emotions. I think I loved every single character in this, and there are 6, I think. There's 3 couples. And it is just so good. Harriet is so relatable to me, and her and Wynn's relationship it made me feel everything. They went through everything. And I loved the dual timeline of like what's happening right now and then what was happening it started from when they were friends, and then it progressed into their relationship, and then it progressed into where they are now. So like it kind of gave you that little mysterious like how did they get here, and I really loved that. Now we're going to talk about my favorite series in the whole world. Moving on to fantasy, romantasy. I kind of group them together because, I don't know, I just do. So here we go. These are my babies. These are my favorite. I don't think another fantasy series will ever hit me this way. I know, or I don't know, but I know some people don't like the series. I know some people say it's not the best writing, but I love Sarah J. Maas more than anything. You can see I have an entire shelf shrine thing to her right here. and I have one over there on my other shelves too. But probably, no, not a controversial opinion, but an opinion that not everybody shares, or that not everybody shares openly, is I think this is my favorite book. It made me cry. It made me laugh. It stressed me out. There was battle and political intrigue and romance and absurdness and an insane ending. And it just made me feel everything. But this is also, if not tied, my favorite book. You can see all of the tabs in both of these books, because I did read these physically. I think I read them all physically. And I'm reading A Court of Silver Flames on my Kindle right now. I love this one. I really want to do a reread of this series eventually, because I know it's just going to bring me back. And like, these covers are just so gorgeous. Like the colors, I think these two also are the most appealing colors to me, and they're just gorgeous. And this one, this is my least favorite one in the whole series, except for A Court of Silver Flames might be right now. I don't know, I can't get into it, but this one, if you haven't read the series, skip this part for 2 seconds. Tampon sucks. I also want to highlight these bad boys. They're gorgeous. Look at these colors together. Depending on when I'm posting this, I'm filming this one day before I go to the midnight release party of House of Flame and Shadow, and I am pumped. This new book is going to destroy me. This one, amazing. I know it takes people like 100 pages to get into it, but it is just so good. I loved Danica. I love Brace. I love Rune. I am on the fence about Hunt. Still, even after reading the second one, I'm still on the fence about Hunt, but it's fine. This one, I love that it gave like paranormal, urban mystery. That's what it gave. And then this one, so much story building, so much death, so much sadness. The ending, I scrumped, I cried, I threw up. I threw my Kindle across the room. I kicked my feet. My whole family was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "You don't understand what just happened in this book." That's all I'll say. Another thriller that I wanted to talk about that is my favorite thriller, 5 stars, 6 stars, all the stars, is Daisy Darker. That book, I audiobooked it. It was so good. I don't know why I don't have a physical copy yet, but I think it's my favorite thriller of all time. It was just so good. Like, they go to this spooky island kind of thing where their Nana lives for her birthday. I think it's on Halloween. And the tide rises and nobody can leave. And then one of them starts dying every hour. And then the plot twist at the end, I didn't see it coming. It took me by surprise. It kicked my feet out from under me. It was insane. I don't even know how to explain what I felt at the end of that. I know this topic isn't on the list of the Booktube Newbie challenge, but I wanted to just talk about it for a minute, and that is what formats I read in. Obviously, throughout the video, I've been saying Kindle, physical, audiobook. I do read all those formats of books. I am lucky enough that my job, I can pop a headphone in and listen to an audiobook all day at work. So like half of my reads every year wind up being audiobooks. And I do use Libby for my audiobooks, and I have been using the free like 15 hours on Spotify. So those are great. I read a lot on my Kindle because I can read. I'm a night reader, so I read at night with the lights off with my Kindle, just like laying in bed all comfy with a blanket. And I do have 2 Kindles. I know that's kind of insane, but I have a purse Kindle that just stays in my purse, and I can read anywhere I want, you know, at work, in the car, wherever I am. And then I do have an at-home Kindle. My purse Kindle is a Kindle Paperwhite, and then my stay-at-home Kindle is an Oasis. And I love that one. I love the buttons. I love how big it is. I love that it's metal. I have the rose gold one. It's gorgeous. And obviously, as you can see behind me, and there are more books in this room, I promise you, I buy so many and read so many physical books because I am an annotating girly. As soon as I read something, I annotate it because I know that in the next like 20 minutes, hour, it'll fly out of my head. So I like to go back to my physical books, open them, flip through them, and see all of the gorgeous, gorgeous things that I've read. I also do read graphic novels and manga. I have all of the typical, Heartstopper, Laura Olympus graphic novels. I have some other ones too. And then I do have some manga. I normally only buy the manga after I watch the anime, and then I'll go back and read the manga and continue to read it. I don't really read manga too often. I read a lot more books than I do manga, but it is something that I do enjoy. The last thing I wanted to talk about before ending this video is what you can expect from my channel. Basically, what you can expect is a lot of unhinged reviews, recommendation videos. I am planning on doing a TBR jar that I'm going to use to pick my TBR every month. I really want to do a lot of reading vlogs. I will be doing a reading vlog of House of Flame and Shadow when that does come out, and I haven't read Throne of Glass, which is right here, so I'm planning on doing probably one reading vlog for each Throne of Glass book. Thank you for sticking around and watching the whole video. If you are still watching, drop a comment on what you're reading right now. I wanted to say thank you for watching this video, and if you like what you saw and you want more from me and you vibed with me and vibed with what I read, then think about subscribing. If not, that's totally okay. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!